Sermon today is God is powerful when we are powerless. And it reminded me of a time when I was at the beach. I was a youth pastor. In some areas of the Oregon coast where I was pastoring, you do not swim in the ocean. It's just not safe. So none of my youth were swimming in the ocean. I'm very safety conscious, paying attention to that. But there was another group that was there, and they decided that they wanted to swim. So 5 go in, 5 come out, 5 come in, 4 come out. Oh, and all of a sudden, whose head pops up past the first bank of waves? This lady pops up, swimming, for her life, right? Because the undertow was so strong, it ripped her out underneath and pulled her out past that first section of waves. And she couldn't get back in, no matter how hard she tried. It just kept cycling. And probably the entire encounter lasted 45 seconds, but I'm sure for her, it felt like an eternity. Because what happened is myself and a number of other strong swimmers ran down to the beach, and we tried to get to her. I couldn't. The second one couldn't. The last guy, who was a lifeguard, dove in, swam past that first section of breakers, and then, as you're supposed to do, swam across from the riptide, grabbed her, brought her back, was able to bring her back onto shore, and the relief on her face was, I almost died. She was completely powerless in that situation. There's nothing that she could have done, no way that she was going to save herself or make anything right in that moment. And this is how we see Joseph today. Joseph ends up here today. So let's start reading in Genesis 37, verse 12, and out of the English Standard Version. Now, his brothers went to pasture their father's flock near Shechem. And Israel said to Joseph, "Are not your brothers pasturing the flock at Shechem? Come, I will send you to them." He said, "Here I am." So he said to him, "Go now, see if it is well with your brothers and with the flock, and bring me word." So he sent him from the valley of Hebron, and he came to Shechem. Last week, Joseph, we saw in verse 2 of chapter 37, if you want to peek at that he was observing his brothers and brought a bad report, and they hated him because of it. And so now, once again, he's off to go and report on his brothers, and Jacob is not aware of the intense hatred that his sons have for one of his other sons, and Joseph is also pretty unaware of it, apparently, because, he's 17 years old, but we see it in the text that he responds to his father, with just a very pleasant, "Here am I, send me, sure, I'll go." And you're kind of like, buddy, did you not get it? But think back to when you were 17. There were a few things that you missed as well. And so here Joseph is, and he gets up and he goes on his way. "You got it, Dad, I am going." And the first thing we see about Joseph is that he is obedient and he is betrayed. He is a good son to Jacob. He is not working the flocks. So already the things that he shared in his dreams are beginning to see something happen in that. He's wearing this robe of many colors. He's in the supervisory role over his brothers. His dad is sending him to go and report back. Let me know if it's going well. Let's double check here. We just want to make sure that it is going okay. Now, it's a 50-mile journey, okay, from Hebron to Shechem where he's going. So that would be, very literally, if you got up from Santa Rosa Christian Church right here and you walked to Ukiah. Okay, so enjoy that trip. Have a great time. Yeah, multi-day journey. It is a long ways to go, okay, from here to Ukiah, from Hebron to Shechem. And 15, a man found him wandering the fields and asked him, "What are you seeking?" "I'm seeking my brothers," he said. "Tell me, where they're pasturing the flock?" And the man said, "They've gone far away, for I heard them say, 'Let's go to Dothan.'" So Joseph went after his brothers and found them at Dothan. Another 15 miles. Okay, so you go to Ukiah and you're not even there yet. You got to keep going. And finally, right, he's covering some ground here. But it's interesting because you see, even as he's walking in this relationship with his brothers, that the familial connection is the thing on the forefront of his mind. "My brothers, I'm seeking. Can you tell me where they are pasturing the flock?" Now, I'm looking for my father Jacob's sheep, and there are some losers who are also, tending to them who look a little bit like me, but it's really all about the sheep. No, he's like, it's about his brothers. Hey, where are they at? I'm looking for them. I want to make sure it's going well. And if they are conducting themselves well, then, hey, the report is going to be good on him. God's providential over this situation. Now, providence means that God is in control, right? We're going to see a whole lot of things happen in this story. God's in control. There's a whole lot of things happening in your story. God's in control. Verse 18, they saw him from afar, and before he came near to them, they conspired against him to kill him. They said to one another, here comes this dreamer. Come now, let us kill him and throw him into one of the pits. Then we will say, a fierce animal has devoured him, and we will see what will become of his dreams. So the brothers see him approaching from a ways away, from far off. And literally the word there in the Hebrew basically means master of dreams, with an ironic little sneer to it. Oh, here comes the master of dreams. Oh, the little dreamer, little 17-year-old guy. Oh, here he comes with his fancy robe and his wonderful dreams. You know what would be better? You know what would be better than bowing down to Joseph? Killing him. I mean, seriously, this is, when you really get down to it, you go, this is a little bit absurd, guys. Like, okay, great. Oh, I'm so sorry. Like, you'll have to bow to your brother. Like, he would rule over you. That's uncomfortable. I guess that's not great. That's not really what you want to do in regard to your younger brother, have him be the boss over you. But they were thought that it would be so much better for Joseph to be dead than to bow their knee to their younger brother. All of it's here. The favoritism, the jealousy, the animosity, it is all reached a climax here, and murder is on the menu. Verse 21, when Reuben heard it, he rescued him out of their hands, saying, let us not take his life. And Reuben said to them, shed no blood, throw him into this pit here in the wilderness, but don't lay a hand on him, that he might rescue him out of their hand and restore him later to his father. So Joseph came to his brothers. They stripped him of his robe, the robe of many colors that he wore, and they took him and threw him into the pit. The pit was empty. There was no water in it. Then they sat down to eat. Look at that, verse 25. That's just... So cisterns in that day were water stores. This one's dry, maybe a little mud at the bottom. But Reuben, he sees the situation unfolding. He's the oldest. He goes, I'm going to take charge of this. No, let's not kill him. Instead, let's toss him in this cistern over here, and kind of probably coaxing his brothers, he'll starve to death in there. It'll be fine. That'll take care of him. That'll teach him. Reuben's plan was to come back around later and try to save him out of the pit, but it's kind of a weak attempt, and we'll see why here in a minute. But having plotted their brother's death and being pretty satisfied with their murderous efforts for the day, you got to have lunch. Right? How callous is that? Like a callousness like that they literally arrive at this place. They go, okay, I'm going to murder him. Well, let's eat. I'm hungry. Let's sit down and just, you can see how callous these brothers have become toward him. The jealousy, the hatred, all of this stuff has hardened them to Joseph. But I wonder about your life. Where have you hardened yourself? Where have you grown callous and uncaring? That literally you could treat someone the worst possible way, and then you could go eat lunch. That you could think and entertain incredibly negative thoughts about an individual and then have no twinge of remorse or guilt afterwards. That callousness that's there. We see this in the brothers, and you go, yeah, but I'm not having thoughts of murder. That's great, actually. Congratulations. Really, really glad to hear that from you. But remember the words of what Jesus said. He said, you have heard it said that thou shalt not murder, but I say to you that the one who hates his brother has murder in his heart. That's a little bit of the Nathan paraphrase there. You can go and read that. But if you feel that callousness, I just encourage you, just bring that to the Lord. Hear Jesus' words in Matthew 13:15. For this people's heart has become calloused. They hardly hear with their ears, and they have closed their eyes. Otherwise, they might see with their eyes, hear with their ears, understand with their hearts, and turn, and I would heal them. And God will heal you. God will take that heart of stone, that hardness, that callousness that you feel within you, and turn it to flesh, compassionate, soft, able to hear from the Lord. So that's the brothers. Imagine you're Joseph. Imagine you're Joseph, though. You're literally in the bottom of this pit. Hey, guys. Hey, brothers. All right. I mean, that's funny. Ha ha. You mind getting me out of here? Reuben, Judah, Levi, come on. Guys, come on. Like, this is not good. Time goes on. He's sitting here, powerless in this situation, thinking, am I gonna die today? Like, is this really the way that this is gonna end for me? Are my brothers really going to treat me this way? Like, are they really going to do this? I think they're really going to do this. Like, I don't know that he is completely stuck and powerless in this situation. There is nothing that he has to turn to except for God. He is completely a bystander in what is happening in this scenario. His brothers are fully and totally and completely in control. And maybe you feel powerless about your life in some ways. That you look at your life and you feel completely out of control. You couldn't influence change in your life or in that area even if you wanted to. That addiction has a grip on your soul that you are powerless to break. That ongoing health problem just keeps crawling back up again and again and again. And it seems like no matter what you do, it's always there, and I'm just powerless against it. I get to the end of the money, and there's tons of month left. And God, I've tried to be responsible, and I'm working for this, but it just seems like no matter what I do, I'm powerless in these situations. And there are more and more and more in each of your lives right now where you would look at a situation and go, I really have no idea what I can even do in that situation. I really have no idea how I could even influence change. I really have no clue how this is going to turn out well at all. And we look at these situations, and it leads us to despair, and it leads us to hopelessness, or it can lead us to God. Because even in your weakness, I am strong, is what God tells us. And let's read from the prophet Isaiah, where it says, lift up your eyes on high and see who created these. He who brings out their host by number, calling them all by name, by the greatness of his might, and because he is strong in power, not one is missing. Why do you say, O Jacob, and speak, O Israel, my way is hidden from the Lord, and my right is disregarded by my God? Have you not known? Have you not heard? Maybe you haven't heard. The Lord is the everlasting God, the creator of the ends of the earth. You see, he does not grow faint or grow weary. His understanding is unsearchable. He gives power to the faint, and to him who has no might, he increases their strength. For even youths shall faint and be weary, and young men shall fall exhausted. But they who wait for the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up on wings like eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not be faint. Amen, church? Amen. See God's direction. Stand strong and trust in him, even when the walls of things are crashing in around you. When you're in a pit and everyone is looking down on you, your 10 brothers are surrounding you, looking down at you, wanting you to die, and you cannot do anything. Who do you have on your side? Always, always, you have God in your corner. Every single situation. And God is far more powerful. God is far greater. God is greater and more powerful and more able to influence a situation than you could ever imagine. It goes beyond what you can even understand. And it goes beyond what I can understand. I got a little picture of this back when my daughter was 3 years old. We were at a diner, and we were eating, and she got angry, some temper tantrum about what she was being served. I'm not sure exactly what it was, and picked up off of the table the salt shaker and chucked it and hit the guy 2 booths over. Yeah, it was great. It was great. It goes over my head, hits this guy 2 booths away. I'm like, that's a pretty good arm. She plays softball now. And I turn, and it would not be accurate to say that a man was sitting in the booth. A mountain was sitting in the booth. I'm just like immediate sweats. I'm like, oh no. So I get up and I walk over. I go, I'm so sorry. The guy's looking around. What's going on? What's happening, right? And I'm so sorry. That was my daughter. He was throwing a temper tantrum. And he just turns. Well, okay. I mean, I can understand. I've got kids too. Just this massive voice. She just needs to come over and say sorry. Yep, you're exactly right. So we calm our 3-year-old down. And I'm already intimidated by the size of this guy. I mean, he's bigger than me and bigger than me. I mean, it's just huge. Alice comes around, walks up in the booth. We're just kind of walking her. And I turn her, and the look in her eyes was, I didn't know humans could be that big. She was petrified. And this guy, she kind of squeaks out this, sorry. And this guy reaches out his massive frying pan of a hand, just says, it's okay, little one. And all that her little 3-year-old hand could do was not even fit around one of his fingers. It was insane. And I was like, please. And she went back, and she was not throwing any more salt shakers that time in that whole situation. And what I saw, I was like, yes, that is it. He is bigger and greater, right? Alice never realized that a person could be that big, that a person could be that strong, that a person could be that powerful. And our God is just like that to us. That each and every time as we walk through situations in our life, we meet God and we realize, you're even stronger than that? You're even more powerful than that situation? I thought that one is the one that was going to do you under. And God goes, not even close. Do you want to shake my hand? God is incredible. The worst and the most difficult thing that can happen in your life is not a hopeless situation. It's an opportunity for God to work, for God to restore something. I've found so many times in my life that when I'm going through an incredible and enormous difficulty, I meet with the Lord, I spend time with the Lord. Maybe some of you, like at the worship night this last Wednesday, we had that time of prayer and you met with God and you were struggling in a situation, and then you leave that time of the worship time, that time of prayer, and you realize, wait, the situation is exactly the same as when I entered into the worship night, but why is it that everything has changed? It's not because the situation is different, it's because you are different. And you go 360 degrees, and God gives you power in a new direction, in a new way to meet the situation that's in front of you. Because the pit isn't the end. God is powerfully at work. Let's continue reading. Looking up, they saw a caravan of Ishmaelites coming from Gilead with their camel bearing gum, balm, and myrrh on their way to carry it down to Egypt. Then Judah said to his brothers, hey, what profit is it if we kill our brother and conceal his blood? Come, let us sell him to the Ishmaelites and let not our hand be on him, for he's our brother, our own flesh and blood, So instead of killing him, we sell him. That's better. I don't know. And his brothers listened to him. Then the Midianite traders passed by. They drew him up, lifted him out of the pit, sold him to the Ishmaelites for 20 shekels of silver. They took Joseph to Egypt. People will look at this sometimes and they get confused in the passage because it says Midianites, Ishmaelites, Midianites, Ishmaelites. Travel at that time was incredibly dangerous, and so the bigger your caravan was, the safer it was going to be. So this is all it's saying is there were Ishmaelites, and Midianites in the caravan that they sold Joseph to. And so they take them, and then they're on their way down to Egypt. This is not merciful on Judah's part. I mean, he's stepped back from the ledge of murder. He's had his lunch. He's a little bit less hangry. And he's like, you know what? Instead, let's make a quick buck. This is about 2 to 3 years worth of minimum wage pay. And so they split it up amongst themselves. They've got a few months each of a little bit of jangle in their pocket, and their little annoying brother is gone. The problem is out of here. I mean, Joseph's perspective on this. I mean, God, why is this happening? They've drawn him up out of the pit. They've sold him off to these traders, and now they're moving. Now they're going. He goes, well, I mean, sure, I guess it's good I'm not dead, but I'm pretty sure my life is over. But then Joseph may realize something. Look at this map here. This topographic, this map. Here you go. So you got Hebron right here, which is where Joseph started out. And then Joseph went up to Shechem, and then he went kind of up and a little bit over to Dothan. From Dothan, where these traders are, there's 2 ways to get to Egypt. You can go via Maurice, which is that one in the in the blue that takes you down by the coast, or you can literally come the way of Shur, which is directly the way that Joseph had traveled north. Traders would take one of those 2 routes. What's at the bottom of that? Hebron, where his dad lives, where his tent is, where everyone is. So Joseph's brothers are a little dumb, by the way, because literally they're north, and in order to get to Egypt, you've got to go south by one of those 2 directions. So coin flip of which way the brothers are going to go. Joseph's looking at this, and I'm thinking, oh, wow, he is eager for them to go the way of Shur. They're going to go right past my dad's tent. They're going to go right past my family home, and my dad will find out, and he'll be able to save me. God, is there a way? Could these shackles just fall off of me? You know, I'm just kind of adding it in here, but you think about this. If you're in that situation, that's what I'm thinking. Oh, my goodness, this may not be the end. They might know they're going the way of the sea. Oh, my goodness. Oh, no. Oh, no. Why is this happening? Why is this happening? Genesis 15:13 tells us exactly why this is happening. God told Abraham hundreds of years before, so this is the great-great-grandfather of Joseph, the Lord said to him, know for certain that for 400 years your descendants will be strangers in a country not their own, and they will be enslaved and mistreated there. But I will punish the nation they serve as slaves, and afterward they will come out with great possessions. God's powerful enough to overcome the evil of the brothers. But Joseph's in this space where he thinks he's done for. I am done. I'm finished. I have nothing else that I can do in life because now I'm just a slave wandering off to Egypt. Everything about my life has been stripped away and destroyed. I thought I had a place in my family. I thought I had a place with my brothers. I thought I had a position. I thought I had a future. I thought I had all of these things. Now I'm done. I'm just finished. And I've heard from people in this congregation, and I've heard from people throughout my life, and I've heard from myself, these situations where we just think that we are done. Oh, I'm too old. I just can't do that anymore. I'm just too old. God can't use me anymore. Oh, I've sinned too much, so God certainly is done with me. Well, I just struggle with too much anxiety, so therefore God couldn't be, I couldn't be of any use to God. Well, I'm just filled with fear all of the time. I heard a story this week of a 94-year-old lady who went into a nursing home, and she gets into this nursing home. She needs some of the extra care around it, and she's sitting there in the nursing home in her chair just kind of going, what's the point? Why I'm here? I guess my life's over. I'm just sort of, I don't know, am I just waiting for the end? She's a Christian, though, and so she starts praying, and she starts asking God, why am I here? What's my purpose? This doesn't really make sense to me. She meets her next door neighbor. They start talking. Her next door neighbor sees her praying, asks her to pray for her. So she prays for her. Her next door neighbor is 100 years old, and they start chatting, and lo and behold, Barbara leads her 100-year-old neighbor to Christ. And then Barbara, who was too old and had nothing left to give, realized this is why I was here. Not even for me, but for her. And when that lady's 1,000 years old, living in eternity with Christ, she'll have Barbara and Jesus to thank. Church, while you're still breathing, God has something beautiful for you to step into, and he is going to be faithful to you in it. Let's see Reuben's reaction. When Reuben returned to the pit and saw that Joseph was not in the pit, he tore his clothes and returned to his brothers and said, "The boy is gone. Where shall I go?" Reuben's lack of leadership comes back to haunt him because he gently tried to reorient his brothers away from murdering Joseph. He got them to throw him in the pit, but then he took his eyes off the situation. He stopped paying attention to it. He just figured it would work out fine, leaves, goes off, I don't know, takes a nap, goes off with the sheep, goes off somewhere else. He's gone. And then when he arrives back, the pit is empty and Joseph is gone because he took his eyes off of the problem. Took his eyes off the problem. The time to stand for what is right is when something wrong is happening. If something wrong is happening, that's the opportunity for you to step in there and fix it. If you see anything from Reuben, go, my goodness, if I see a situation that is occurring, and I'm in that place of responsibility and I'm the one who can make a difference, I need to step in and pay attention and be diligent and continue working and keeping my eye on that situation to help make sure that wrong gets turned right. Because Reuben stepping out and taking his eyes off of the situation with Joseph allowed Joseph to get sold off to the traders and taken down to slavery in Egypt. Of course, God's faithful in this, but you can learn something from Reuben. Reuben did not lead his brothers well. Reuben got passive, halfway fixed it. And because of this, Reuben gets caught up in the lie that he did not want to be part of. Because this is something else that happens when you don't get in there and actually fix a situation. All 10 of them, took Joseph's robe and slaughtered a goat and dipped the robe in blood. And they sent the robe of many colors and brought it to their father and said, "This we have found. Please identify whether it's your son's robe or not." And he identified. He said, "It is my son's robe. A fierce animal has devoured him." Joseph was without doubt torn to pieces. Then Jacob, his father, he tore his garments and put sackcloth on his loins and mourned for his son many days. All his sons and daughters rose up to comfort him, but he refused to be comforted and said, "No, I shall go down to my son mourning." Thus his father wept for him. Meanwhile, the Midianites had sold him in Egypt to Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh, the captain of the guard. One lie leads to another, leads to a group deceit, leads to the 10 brothers having to walk with this lie year after year after 22 years. And Reuben didn't even want to be a part of it. But because Reuben didn't step out and lead, he got wrapped up in something that would follow him around for over 2 decades. But church, the pit isn't the end. God is powerfully at work because God's purpose was to take Joseph down to Egypt. Even when we're powerless, God is active. He has a plan for him. Joseph didn't die that day. Joseph could have gotten murdered that day, but he did not. God worked in it. When we get unsettled, we always get it's so difficult. We're walking day by day. You wake up, you go to sleep, and as you're walking in these situations, we lose sight of the bigger picture that God is painting in each of our lives. Because maybe God is working a tapestry or leading you through a journey that's going to take you a month. Or maybe it's going to take you 6 months or 2 years, or in Joseph's case, multiple decades. But God is with you. He walks with you. Same way he walked with Joseph down to Egypt. He will show you the way. He cares about each of you. And he's telling you, no matter what your situation is, I have the power here. I'm lining something up for you. Walk with me. Trust me. Wait for me. Have faith. I don't know all of your troubles, but I'm so glad that we have a God who does. And he doesn't just know them, but he's powerful enough to be able to make a difference in it. And so when you've exhausted all of your options, I find this in my life sometimes. When I exhaust all of my options, the wise person moves to prayer and reliance upon God. But the wiser person still starts with prayer and reliance upon God, then in the direction of the Spirit moves in the words and actions that God directs. And so wherever you find yourselves today, at the end of yourself or beginning something challenging, let's read one more time those words from Isaiah 40. And then I'm going to pray over us. And as I pray, prayer team, go ahead and come on forward as we close out our service together. Let's hear these words together. Have you not known? Have you not heard? The Lord is the everlasting God, the creator of the ends of the earth. He does not grow faint or grow weary. His understanding is unsearchable. He gives power to the faint, and to him who has no might, he increases strength. Even youths shall faint and be weary, and young men shall fall exhausted. But they who wait for the Lord shall renew their strength, mount up on wings like eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint. Church, let's pray together. God, thank you. God, I trust in you. I trust in you today. God, we make that our declaration. God, I trust that you are working on my behalf, and I trust the good that you are choosing to do. God, help each of us to embrace that and to walk with that and to see you come through in wonderful and powerful ways. In your name, amen. I want to give one little plug. If you have not signed up for this incredible women's event that's happening on May 3rd, the entire focus of that time is how to hear God's voice in your life and follow after him. Talk with Deb, sign up for it. Be a wonderful time. If there's something you'd like prayer for, please come forward with our prayer team. You can also take communion here at the side as well. God bless all of you. Have a wonderful week.